Welcome to episode 5 of a beginner's guide to getting started inside of Adobe Express, the sponsor of this series. Now, if you're new here, my name is Darren, and if you've not watched any of the other series or any of the rest of the series, I'll put all of that down in the description below. But I'm an Adobe Express ambassador, and in today's episode, we're looking at all things AI. Now, this isn't just AI image generation. We've got a couple of other features inside of here that are going to be really helpful outside of AI image generation. Let's dive in and take a look. Now, as always in this series, we're starting off on the Adobe Express homepage. We're going to click on the button up here to get started, and we're going to open up a blank square page. It's as simple as that. Again, if you've not watched the rest of the series, you can go back and watch that. But in here, we're going to click away, and then we've got the option of here where we can like edit the page. We're going to edit the title, and we can add in a title, etc. We can also give this a demo project name. We're going to do that up here. So first of all, we're going to come over to add content, and down at the bottom here we've got generative AI. Now in here we can actually generate image, we can generate videos, we can generate template, and we can also generate text effects. Now first of all, we're going to talk about image generation. We're going to click on generate image, and we're going to click on add a square option. Now there's a few options we do have in here. We could choose Adobe Firefly Image 4. We've also got Firefly Image 5, which is available in here. Now those two options are commercially safe. We can see up here, those are commercially safe. So they're only trained on licensed content and are commercially safe to use. Down the bottom here, we've also got a few partner models available to us inside of Adobe Express. We've got Nano Banana Pro, we've got Imogen, ChatGPT, we've got Flux, and all sorts of other options down here. If you want to make sure it's commercially safe, stick to the Adobe Firefly Image 4. And if on this one, to be fair, we have some other options. We got in here where we can describe what it is we want to see. So I'm going to type in here, we've got a cartoon penguin with a fish in its mouth, and the penguin is standing on snow. Now we could too, if we wanted to, choose to add a reference style. So you can see if we hover over the eye, we can choose a reference style, and we can also choose a composition. So if we've got a particular style or composition, we can actually add those reference images on here. Now, the next option we can do is actually to automatically choose what it is we want to do. We can choose photo, graphic, or art. I'm going to go for art on this one because I want it to be a fun item. And then we've got different themes, effects, and materials. We've got different materials. I'm going to go for a layered paper because I kind of like the way this one comes out. And then we can click on generate. And then after a few minutes, it's going to give us a few different options that we can actually choose from here. We've got this first one here. We've got another one here. I really like that one. That's actually really cute. We've got another one here that looks like it's in a bit of an igloo. And I know the fish aren't in its mouth exactly, but it's included the fish. It's included the penguin. It's in an igloo. It's on snow. And this one here also is really cute. It's kind of like, almost looks like it's in a snow globe. So we could like play about with the prompts on here and test and use those. Now, if we do start changing around and choose a different image model, you can see here if we choose Firefly Image 5, we can see we've got our results here, but it doesn't give us the same kind of like items that we would want to, or maybe we could choose from. So we'd actually have to include those things inside of the actual prompt. Now this isn't a full guide on how to create prompts on creating images. If you want that, there's other videos on my channel where I can walk you through different prompt options inside of there. But we've also got the Gemini 3. You can see here, if we want to, we have to first of all add those on there, and it gives us that warning saying it's not commercially safe. But if we wanted to, we can now choose Gemini 3 on here, or we could choose Nano Banana Gemini 2.5. Okay, so we're going to click generate on there. And now it's going to give us a totally different look and feel because I've kept the prompt the same, but it's not got those different areas that it's actually broken down and actually guided us through kind of like generating the image. You can see here, this is more like a cartoon penguin with a fish near its beak. And we can do, if we want to, at the bottom here, we can click on generate more. each time we generate on this one, you can see down the bottom here, it's using 10 credits, and we can check our account to see how many credits we're using on a regular basis. But that's image generation inside of Adobe Firefly. You can see it then gives us the option to choose between these two items here. Now, if we come over and add content again, we come down to Generative AI. You can see we've got some video options. You can generate video, and on this one you can choose kind of like the movement, and it gives us a guide as to what those movements will look like. We can choose the shot size, whether it's a close-up, extreme long shot, etc. We've got all of those options in here. We can also choose the camera angle, so we can decide where we want that to actually look like. We can even add in here a starting image, so we can have a play about with that. And again, add in our prompt here. I've got other videos on my channel if you want to check this out inside of Adobe Express. The next option on here under Generative AI is Generate Template. Now again, this is a new option in here. It's only been out recently. We can choose the type of template that we want to create. We're going to go with Instagram Story on this one. We can choose to add an image, and we can choose to add any image we want. Let's choose to add, we don't want that one. We're going to choose this Adobe coffee image. Okay, we want to select our brand, and we're going to choose to add Adobe coffee. So we're going to start seeing that it's going to be able to add in here our actual template options. And then we can say here in here, let's add a coffee offer on a Tuesday morning. And then we're going to click on Generate. And we can see here after a few minutes we've got a few different options on these. We can generate similar if we wanted to, if we've got one in particular that we like the look of, or if there's one we wanted to kind of like we liked or we wanted to edit, we could do that. So let's say we liked this one. Okay, we're going to edit this template. That's going to then open that up for us to then start editing and doing things that we want to actually create. But if we go back, we can see it's actually created our templates with our image. It's got our branding on there and everything else like that. It's even got our fonts, etc., all that we normally use. But now you can come just into here and you can start changing these and moving things about if you wanted to move things about and edit that template and download and save it as always. But that's generating templates inside of Adobe Express. Next, we're going to have a look at text effects. So there's a couple of ways you can actually get to text effects. One of them is if we come over to add content, Generative AI, and add text effect. Now we've got some predetermined ones here with which we can actually use. These are all, we just click on those and it's going to actually start adding those to the template that we've got here. But if we wanted to, I'm going to just delete that one. Let's say if we wanted to change this one here and we wanted to make that text or that font a little bit bigger, we're going to come over to Effects. We can click on View All, and it's going to give us those options on here. But if we wanted to, we can actually create our own. Now we're going to create our own. We're going to call it Coffee Beans. Okay. And we can choose here as to how close into the font we want it to be. So if we want it to be kind of like outside of the font or inside of the font, depending on what we're going to do, we're going to choose on this one, we're going to choose the medium option. And we can also change the font if we wanted to, how realistic we want. And if we wanted to, we can actually add a tint to this. So we could add a tint, which is kind of like orange. We want it to be, we could have all sorts of options. We're going to have it realistic on this one. We're going to click on Generate. You can see here after a few minutes, what it did is it generated 4, and I clicked on Generate More, and it's given me a few different options on here. And if I zoom in here, you can see this is actually made up of coffee beans, which is a really fun effect to apply. And try different text effects on here. You could have diamond glitter or any of the other options on here. We can play about with those different text effects inside of Adobe Express. Now moving away from image and video generation on the AI side, I want to show you something else which is really cool. We've got this one here where it says Cafe Delight. You can see when we actually select the text, we've actually got this option here that pops up called Rewrite. Now we can actually rephrase this, shorten it or lengthen it. And we can also change how it sounds, whether that's professional, personal, or inspirational, or just casual. Let's go for comical and generate this. And we're going to see on here a couple of options. So it's come up with brouhaha and Java Jamboree and mug shenanigans. So we can see on here, if we wanted to, we can actually select one of them and we can actually choose to replace it, or we can actually add it in as an extra page. Or we can choose all three and add all three in there as extra pages. So if we wanted to create something and have different copy on those different templates, we can actually come in and do that here using the rewrite option inside of Adobe Express. This is one of my favorite options here, because sometimes I'm thinking like, well, actually I don't want it to just say coffee deal. I want it to be the same sort of sense, but I want it to be more inspirational. Let's say, so Java offer, brew bargain and morning special. So you can see like there, we can start playing about with these. These are just like a little bit of an example. You can have longer sentences, and you can also choose to shorten or lengthen if you do have longer or shorter areas of text inside of your templates. But that's rewrite inside of Adobe Express. Now I've just added an image here that I've generated of the Adobe coffee mug, and on here, if we select this, we can see here we've got a couple of things that might not necessarily think of as AI, but we've got remove background. So we could, if we wanted to, just click on that, and that's going to automatically remove the background, because this is, whether you like it or not, still classed as AI. So you can remove the background there, and it does an absolutely amazing job keeping the coffee beans in there and removing the background. I'm going to click undo on that, because we might also want to click on erase and just erase a particular section. I'm going to click undo on that, because we've also got a quick selection. So we can see on here, we can come around and start erasing that using the quick selection tool. Those are really good, and you can change the size on these and invert them and restore. But that's a really good, the erase option is something if you want to erase kind of like part of an image. We've also got remove object. So let's say we didn't want this particular coffee bean down here. We're going to click on remove. We're going to highlight that, click on remove. It's going to go away, and it's going to use this generative fill, similar to the tools that you'll find in apps like Photoshop, etc. It's using the same technology, given that they're still Adobe, but you can still see on here that that's actually removed that bean. It's still kept the wood grain on there, and it gives you three different options on here. You can see as I click between them how that actually works. It's done a really good job. We're going to click on discard on that. We're going to click discard and close. And then the other option we've got is we could actually insert something. So let's say we wanted to, I tried this a couple of times yesterday and it was a little bit hit and miss doing this one, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to do steam from the coffee. Okay, we're going to do that. We're going to click on insert, and we're going to see if we can get it to generate some steam above this coffee mug. Okay, and if we zoom in here, we can see it's actually started to add a little bit of steam on here above this coffee mug, which is really cool. You know, it adds that little bit of extra dynamic kind of like feeling to this. You can also say you wanted to add in something else on there. So let's say we wanted a rose. Okay, I'm going to put a rose in here, a red rose. Okay, we're going to click on insert. Okay, I'm going to have a look and see what that comes back like. Okay, if we zoom in here, we can see here we've got a little rose. It's also added in a rose here and a rose here. Again, this is just me playing about to demonstrate what this can do. I'm going to click on discard on that and change that. But adding the steam in there was a really cool idea, I thought, and that's worked really well. But that's kind of like inserting an object. So we've got removing the background, erasing, we've got removing objects, we've got inserting objects, and then you can also click on generate similar. So you could say on here you want a cup of tea. It's going to have a look at generating something similar, because this has got coffee beans on here. So I want to kind of like maybe add something there a little bit similar. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so for me, this is kind of like really worked. You know, we've got the, it's kind of like giving it, if you have a look in the back here, we've got the cloth, the rustic kind of like table. So it's still giving a similar kind of like feel and vibe of these areas. This one as well was kind of like really kind of like similar. It might be in the similar kind of like area or kind of like the same cafe. So you could have a play about with this, and it's going to have like, you know, it's a cup of tea, but it's a similar kind of like vibe. And that's what I'm seeing as, and it works really well. And that's Generate Similar inside of Adobe Express. Now this next one is also a really cool feature if you're working with a brand maybe, then you want to have things translated into a different language. We're going to come over to Edit Page. You can see as we just click it outside of this, we've got this option to actually translate. Now we can actually come over and select the options to actually translate this into different languages. So let's say we want to come over and change it to French. We're going to click on Translate. And then that's going to go away, translate this for us, and create a version with French. There we go. Promo Café de l'Est. I don't speak French, okay? I'm sorry, I don't speak French, but Promo Café, I know that's Cafe Coffee Promo. I can understand that much, but there we go. It's actually translated that for us. We can see on here, if we come over to our templates, it's actually got the two versions there. So that's translation inside of Adobe Express. AI, whether you like it or not, it's still AI. And that's everything AI inside of Adobe Express. But those of you who are also using Adobe Firefly, which I have tutorials on this channel, I also have a beginner's guide to that on this channel. I'll link that down below for you in the description, and all of the chapters and links to the other episodes in this series. But next we're going to be looking at how Adobe Firefly and Adobe Express can work together, and how you can generate images in Adobe Firefly to then bring those into Adobe Express. But that's the next episode. If you've got any questions on this episode or any other episodes or any other questions at all Adobe Express related, drop them down in the comments. And until next time, thank you very much and bye for now.